Hello YouTube, iFixItAll here, Team iFixItAll. Something was bugging me um, here, and I thought I better post it. When it comes to fixing threads, so the purpose of the video is I'll probably do another one. I'm going to be hand making new soldering iron tips. This is a decent soldering iron, USA made, that I got at a thrift store. The other part to it resides right here, on off with power level adjustment and a sponge and a holder. But and I put a pistol grip on it, like from an old squirt gun. Just taped it on there. This design requires the tip to be screwed in, and it's threaded, and my tip broke off. I don't know where my tip is. Here it is. And to me, it's a little bit borderline too short. Anyway, I hand aimed it and drilled it. I was very surprised. And I needed to discover what the thread pattern was. So by trial and error, I found a bolt in one of my bolts bins that screwed in perfectly fine. No, I'm trying to detect if it's metric or standard, and I've got a pretty good feel for that, and I've determined this is a standard. But to confirm that, for Christmas one year, I got one of these items right there that has kind of like what you see at Lowe's, and I determined it was not metric. And I ended up determining it was a 1024, pretty common. So, no biggie so far. And then, moving forward, I decide to, I've got this ground wire from something from days gone by, and its diameter, let me snug that down a little bit so it stays put. Dang it, I want this light on. That'll help a little bit for me, not necessarily you. Oh, I'm in the wrong crevasse. So that measures to be about I'm gonna lock that in tighter. I just dropped it. It measures to be pointer. 0.1615. Either way, number 10. So then I needed to determine what was the thread pitch. So in these cheap little Harbor Freight, or if you're lucky with a Cobalt tap set. You'll have this little thing. This is for standard to determine what your threads per inch are by literally just laying this up to the bolt. They're stamped with numbers and they tell you what threads. I determined that I was 24 threads per inch. I'll double check myself. Yep. So this is the one that matches. Perfectly fine. So that's step one. Find out what your threads are inside here. Step two is find something that goes in there. Step three, determine your threads per inch. And then next is to find out what your diameter is. So I got all that information. I come up with 1024. Because I have this solid number 10-ish that measures out to be 0.162 inches, which is a little over 1/8 of an inch. And I'm using a 1024 Cobalt die. Yeah, you can see that, I hope. 1024. And so I cut my threads. And then it dawned on me the day I was tapping out a hole on my son's upper intake about using the Harbor Freight taps or dies that something just wasn't right. Well, here I've got a Cobalt 1024. It's supposed to be SAE, USA spec. And I ran, and this is hexagon shape. I don't have a single thing that holds. Well, there's my, oh no, that's metrique. I've been looking for my Harbor Freight number 1024 to compare with. So I tapped my threads, or I dyed my threads. I had to, it's hexagon shape, so it's just copper, so I can put a socket on it and spin it up. Just work it back and forth. Get me some threads cut. And then I want to test fit it in the soldering iron. And first couple threads are sloppy as hell. And there's no taper in this copper rod that I'm using. It's just that, see that? I drop in like 3 threads and then suddenly something grabs. And I screw it in. And yeah, it feels kind of okay. And it bottoms out only because there isn't another thread. So therefore, I could keep twisting and it'll act like a thread locker. But it's not the right cut. Something's wrong. That's too much copper has been removed. I know this is true 1024 because this bolt here, this iron is USA made from quite a while ago. It's a newer unit. It's not an antique, but it's newer. Not to say it's brand new, but It is USA made. It's a brand name, Weller, that happens to be an industrial style soldering iron. This particular brand said the base of that unit over there for the what holds the soldering iron is says made in USA. That grabs on the first thread. This is 1024 bolt. When I drop it in the hole, I can't slip. I can't force past a couple of threads. This was just tapped with Cobalt 1024. See that? So what's going on? What's happening here? Made in China. It's machinist problems. It's translation. It's measuring, setting up machines to get 1024 off of metric default. The rest of the planet uses metric, and we use this standard. So that's a Cobalt 1024. This is a 1024 real 1024 bolt. If that was correct and machined correct, then I should be able to take this 1024 screw and screw it in. And it stops right there about the first thread. I can't go any further. I can force it. Now I'm stuck. Here's what's going on. These cheap dies are taking too much thread away. Too much of the center core of your round stock. It's taking too much metal away. This 1024 bolt screws right in there perfectly. If I use that 1024 tap from China and create a 1024 bolt, you are wrong. So what I'll do is I'll live with the problem for now, but don't trust your tap and dies. If you're going to do a really critical cut, really critical thing, borrow someone like that has a set of Starrett or whatever. Don't use the cheap brand names. I'm going to hunt through my Harbor Freight tap and dies and see if I can't find my Harbor Freight 1024 and recut this. So I'll be back in a little bit to show you how to make a homemade soldering tip. See ya. Have a great day. Thanks for watching. Remember, reject the New World Order and the pedos. See ya.